He scored 62 points in the damn game.
I know.
The rest of the team made like 3 shots.
And I pointed out in the article, they weren't good.
That's not a recipe for winning. I found it incredibly fascinating. In your article, you chronicled how little, I think the number was, it was in the 80s, of guys that had more half-court time with the ball than Steph Curry through their first 4 games of the season.
Through the first 5 games, Curry touched the ball fewer times in the half court than 80-plus guys in the league, including his own brother, Seth Curry.
That is unbelievable, and obviously not the way you want to be playing if you are the Golden State Warriors, because there is Steph Curry and there is a Grand Canyon-sized golf to whoever is the second best player on that team. Now, one of the things that you mentioned was...
Draymond's pretty damn good, though.
He is. Yeah. At his age, you probably don't want him carrying that James Harden, Trae Young, extreme usage mode, which the usage the night he scored 62 was obviously extreme. But I'm going to tell you, I read the article and I took it all in. I would have him take as much of the load as he possibly can, is what I would do. I mean, I understand that you don't want to get extreme like that, where it's all him all the time and 4 guys just playing off of him. That being said, this team is going to have to be extremely Curry heavy in order to win games, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And that was ultimately the underlying point of the article, that if the Warriors, if they want to win games this year, they need to adapt to the personnel that they have. Losing Klay Thompson is significant. He's your best wing defender. He's one of the greatest shooters in the history of basketball. He's a smart playmaker off the dribble for you. He knows where to be in the court. He has chemistry with Steph. So with all these other guys, like, Andre Iguodala is not walking through that door. Sean Livingston's not walking through that door. Andrew Bogut's not walking through that door. David West isn't walking through that door. This is new personnel. And with Steve Kerr, over the weekend after one of the losses, I tweeted that he's made 0 adjustments, that he's going to make some changes here. And I felt like with that tweet, I was just repeating what he himself said.
Yeah.
Kerr himself said, maybe we need to simplify things from what we did before to fit what we have now. Like that's what he's done the last 2 games.
And the reason is you and I think it was Draymond's quote in your article that was talking about all those different guys and the ability to read and react all the time, and that their offense was based so much on reading and reacting, and that's not Wiggins, and that's not Oubre, and that's not these guys. You think about all those guys you named off: Iguodala, David West, Sean Livingston, Klay Thompson,
players.
Like the highest of high basketball IQs. Like they can play like that. But when you're giving that, if you're asking all these guys to read and react, when most of them, and look, I mean, I hate to come back to this, most of them have all been in losing situations. You know what I mean? They haven't been playing winning basketball. And I think you end up catching a lot of bad traits coming up when you've lost an immense amount of games. And that's been the case with Wiggins and Oubre for the most part. The majority of their careers have been spent losing. And so this is a whole new deal, playing in a different system with a different culture.
It's hard. It's really hard. Especially Steph. Like, there's no other player like Steph on the planet. If you're stepping on a basketball court with Steph Curry, you're playing with somebody who's unlike anybody else you've ever played with before. And that takes time to get used to. So
same with Draymond. Draymond is an amazing basketball player. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's very quirky on the court with his style of play. So, with both of those guys, it's hard to get adjusted. And that's why, they're not going to go full rockets and run pick and roll and isolations with Curry. That would be ludicrous to suggest that. What I hope for, and what I think we're starting to see the last 2 games, Curry's touches are up. He's averaging 39 front court touches per game, 24.5 shots per game, up from 20 over the first 5 games. They're feeding him the ball more often, still in the same old situations before, running around the court off screens and handoffs. You still see plenty of that. But they're also running a bit more pick and roll, and they're just letting him create for himself with some ISOs more often, because Curry is the guy who he's always been the number one reason why they've had the success that they've had because of what he does off ball with his gravity, drawing defensive attention, creating driving lanes, cutting lanes, passing windows for his teammates. Now he can be that same gravity with the ball in his hands. He can be that guy. We saw that at the end of Sunday's win against Portland. He had a pick and roll. He went down the lane, and the help defense came over because they're worried about Steph pulling up for a floater. They're worried about him getting to the basket. And Andrew Wiggins had a wide open corner three to really extend the lead and ice it for the Warriors with a couple minutes left. Curry needs to be the creator for that team. It's about blending what's worked with Clay, with Draymond, with KD, with what needs to work now with this new personnel. And I'm encouraged because the Warriors had a shortened offseason right after a surprising Clay injury that nobody could have expected, or, it's still shocking to me that it happened. With training camp, with a shortened preseason, and then 4 road games to start the year. As soon as they got home and as soon as Draymond got back, this is why I was high on the Warriors before the season, even without Clay, because I feel like there's something there blending the new with the old. And Kerr, got to give him credit, man. He seems to be figuring out that blend at a really, really nice level, and the players are executing nicely the last 2 nights. And Steph, you got to ride this guy, man.
Yeah,
you got to ride him.
This is Davidson Steph Curry, and he's going to start getting the Davidson Steph Curry treatment.
Soon enough.
Sooner than later.
Or the 2019 NBA Finals treatment that Nick Nurse gave. And we have seen a little bit. We haven't seen box and one, but in the 2019 Finals, the Raptors also did a thing where, Steph would bring the ball up the court and they'd have a second defender like near the logo, ready to pick him up, ready to pressure him. And we're going to see a lot more of that. We're already seeing overhelp and pick and roll situations. More pressure is going to come his way. But ultimately, I think that's a good thing for the Warriors because that means more is going to, because Wiggins isn't a slouch. He can make a play off the dribble for you. It's just you got to simplify it. Drive and kick, straight line drive, slashing. Those are the situations you want Oubre and Wiggins in, and they can thrive in that situation. Not as much the read and react situation.
I just don't think they have enough. I just don't think he has enough with him. And that's where we break ways. I mean,
Draymond looks awesome though, dude. Like Draymond's way better on defense now than he was the last couple of years. He looks rejuvenated.
Draymond is a fantastic player who I am a huge fan of. I'm talking about when it's night after night after night. Steph Curry's going to have to average 35 or more points a game for this team to be over 500.
He's averaging 32 right now. I know there's an outlier 62-point game in there, but the fact is that if he can produce at a level comparable to his unanimous MVP season, which he is right now, it's 32 points per game on a 65 true shooting percentage. During his unanimous MVP season, it was 30 points per game with a 67 true shooting percentage. It's only 7 games. There's one outlier 62-point game. But that's what Steph is. He has those outlier games. He has those high-scoring nights. And if he can continue this, man, like I'm telling you, like I had Warriors as a top 6 seed in the West, the 6th seed in the West, I believe I had them. I still want to rule it out. I think Draymond, we distorted what this team was without Draymond because I say we, the collective we, media fans, whoever, because we thought, the Warriors might be getting back the Draymond they've had the last couple of years, who didn't really care for the regular season, who was coasting, who was quite frankly out of shape and overweight at times. This Draymond right now looks a lot more like the prime level Draymond Green on the defensive end of the floor. And if they have that guy, it changes everything for your defense. It changes everything that you have in terms of having a secondary shot creator who can deliver Curry the ball in those positions where he's running off screens and handoffs. I don't know, dude. Like, even without Clay, I still think this team is really, really good because of how I value Curry as a top 5 guy in the league and how I view Draymond as a top 15, 20 player in the league. You have 2 guys that good, no matter what you have around them, they're going to be competitive. I still think Wiggins and Oubre in the right role are good, and they have some other quality talent on that roster. Eric Pascal has his moments as the 5 off the bench. They're figuring things out on the fly with new personnel. I like what they got going on despite the slow start.
We will see what takes place. We certainly have a different opinion on that team despite look, I love Curry. I love him. And I love Draymond. These are 2 of my favorite guys in the league. I think the guys around them are not good enough. That being said, that team
No,
across
but
from
wait a
them.
minute though. Not good enough to win a title, but it's not always about the title though. You know, like we've talked about
I'm
this
talking about over the
years.
course. I'm talking over the course of the
to
season.
even make the playoffs.
I think they will be in the play-in if they're there.
If they're there, yeah. I
Yes.
mean, I think I would put a lot of money on them being a top 10 team in the West.
Well, I'm
on
saying that they would
Yeah.
be in the play-in if they're
Yeah.
there. Right.
if they're
So that-
there, but I'm saying they will be there. That's where we differ.
yeah.
I say they will be there. You say if they'll be there. They will. Be.
I mean, look, Curry's got
how
has
can you bet against Steph and Draymond though?
because he hasn't been able to play a whole season, Kevin. He hasn't
So
been able. Not even close.
You're betting on them
Not
missing
even
games,
close.
and that's what hurts. Then you're betting on them missing games, which I understand that.
Why would
That's
I not
fair.
bet on him missing games?
That's fair, but you know,
I mean, he's missed an immense
fair.
amount of games.
that's
You
fair.
know what I mean? Over time. And I also think that just over the course of a season, I think he has to average over 35 points a game for them to be good. Like these games that that we're talking about that he's had, that's pretty extreme, Kevin.
Oh yeah,
he
of course.
scored 62 points in the damn game.
I know.
The rest
I
of the
know.
team made like 3 shots.
And
Like,
I
they
pointed out in the
can't-
article
that
they
is not
weren't good.
That's not a recipe for winning night in and night out.
The thing is, though, is Oubre also was 2 for 25, I believe, from 3 to start the year, 4 for 6 last night in the win against the Kings. Some of the other guys on the team, Wiggins included, Oubre, are going to shoot better than they did over the first week. And like I feel like it's a mixture of things with this team that I'm looking at. Like, this is why I didn't bump them down too much in my power rankings.
And then when they go to their bench, I like Pascal, and that's where it ends.
Pascal's good. Pascal's good. I mean, we'll see how Kent Bazemore comes along for them, and
Yeah, I guess we will.
He's-